Codie Sanchez didn't just build a YouTube channel. She actually built a machine that turned strangers watching her videos into millions of dollars. And in the next however many minutes, I'm going to show you the exact 5-stage funnel that she used to do just that, mapped out stage by stage so you can steal the exact same framework for your own content. Now, if you're thinking, this doesn't really apply to me, she's got millions of followers, stick with me because this isn't a virality breakdown. Codie's whole philosophy is that you don't need to go viral. Her funnel isn't built on luck or algorithm hacks. It's built on systems anyone can copy starting from absolutely zero. I help creators generate 50K per product launch using my audience to asset engine, and funnels like Codie's are exactly why that specific framework works. So when I break this down, I'm not just admiring it, I'm actually mapping it out against the same mechanics that I use to get my own clients paid. So by the end of the video, you'll know exactly how she takes a viewer from a cold scroll on YouTube all the way through email capture, nurture, and monetization, and into the final stage that nobody really talks about is turning her audience trust into owning actual real world businesses. Now, let's get into the video. I'll be breaking down Codie Sanchez's entire 5-stage monetization funnel, right? And I'm going to show you guys how she makes $1 million plus per month across her business portfolio and her media company. So, who is Codie Sanchez? She's the buy a business, don't build one type of woman, right? She teaches people to get rich buying unsexy businesses instead of chasing startups, right? And she actually does this herself, right? So she's a self-made multimillionaire that teaches people how to purchase laundromats, car washes, right? And scale that up to millions and millions of dollars, right? And the big thing to understand with her and how she's able to make $1 million plus a month is she understands her ideal client profile, right? Her ICP. And the next thing is her audience knows, likes, and trusts her. Those are the big two things and why she is able to make millions of dollars. So let's break it down a little bit further. Let's go to her first stage, right? Which is the awareness stage. So her big thing is you don't need virality, you need a repeatable content system, right? So at a given time, she has 50 to 100 ads running, right? And those ads are tailored specifically to her ICP and their pains, right? And in those ads, she provides the solution, right? Which is the call to action that get people to convert and purchase. So this is Codie Sanchez's Instagram, right? She has 3.2 million followers, right? Founder, entrepreneur, author, how to build a more profitable, less painful business. The only book launching where it pays to attend, September 18th, right? That's the most recent thing she has. She's launching a new book, right? And this link here takes you to that, where you can get actually a free spot in the reveal where she's going to be giving out awards and stuff like that, right? So her reels, all of her reels give value, or they're super edited, right? That makes her go viral, right? And then there's the other ones where they're like no effort clips. Okay, so these are her pin reels, right? 1.3 million, 7.1 million, and 25.3K. Now, these reels also get people to know, like, and trust her, right? Which is super important for content creators. Now, let's go to her posts. So her posts mainly go over marketing, right? She makes a post about her book, right? This is her new book, Own or Be Owned, right? And, talk stuff that she talks about, reposting some interviews, stuff like that, right? It's mostly marketing, right, from her profile. Now, as you guys can see here, she has a few highlights. Own her book, Biz to Buy, the first book, newsletter, and her community, right? So all these stories, if you go into there and check them out, they're all pain and pitch, right? So it talks about the specific pain that her ICP has, and then at the end of those videos, she has a pitch. Join my newsletter, join this new event, so on and so forth, right? Now, let's go into her long form content, right? YouTube. So on her YouTube channel, she has 2.22 million subscribers, right? And let's go into her description here. All right, so come to the book launch, Own or Be Owned, right? That's her most up-to-date, September 18th, right? Her mission, help you and I own and grow local businesses, right? Because she does this herself. One business at a time, we take back control and cash flow, right? A lot of FOMO here, fear of missing out. She talks about where she's at, her position, right? CEO of Contrarian Thinking and a New York Times best-selling author of Mainstream Millionaire, right? So she's the owner of these brands and she's an investor in multiple things, right? So she gives a little brief description of who she is. And this is a lot of her content, right? I built a business with AI within 24 hours, right? 308K views. The 60K a month business AI can't replace. Boom, right? And these are all long form content, right? So they're over at least 10 minutes long, right? Now, all of these videos have a lot of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And each of those videos, right, there's also a call to action, right? Join my newsletter, join this event, join my programs, get my course, right? And also, these videos get people to admire her and also feel inspired by her, right? Because she has the experience, right? So she's actually become a millionaire from what she talks about, right? And people are inspired and they admire, especially a lot of other women, right, who want to strive and become multimillionaires, right, as well. She also has another YouTube channel, right, but it's mainly interviews and podcasts and stuff like that, right, which also generates more lead flow, right? So, big thing to understand here with all of this, right, is this grabs awareness, first off, right? So her content and platforms each have a CTA and each have a watch time, which equals to more engagement with her. Cool. Now, let's go into stage 2, right? How she captures the attention, right? So the big thing, she leads everybody into her newsletter, right? And this is what she says. YouTube is rented land. The newsletter is the owned asset, right? That's her newsletter, right? She builds the content from YouTube, Instagram, right? But if she lead flows everybody into her newsletter, right? Now she's controlling the narrative, right? Now she's controlling what's getting put out there to her audience, right? So as I said right before, social is rented, the inbox is owned. So she's pushing everybody to her newsletter. So 1 million weekly readers, right? These are all reviews. 1 email, 2 high value newsletters straight to your inbox. Each one delivers everything you need to be smarter than a private investor. Now, this is like the welcome aboard email here. You're officially a contrarian, right? Makes you feel special. Welcomes people into the newsletter, and then it gives a lot of free value here, right? These are some of her recent posts. So her primary newsletter is the Contrarian Thinking newsletter, right? She has 2. And her second is the Mainstream Minute newsletter, right? So Contrarian Thinking and the Mainstream Minute, right? So she has 2 newsletters. And all of this growth, she had 10K people join her newsletters in 30 days. In 12 months, she had 100K. In 3 years, she's had 250,000. And now today, she has 2.5 million people into her newsletter. Just think about how that can convert in the future. Now, after she gets people into her newsletter, right, this is where this nurture becomes in, right? Stage 3. So as I said before, socials is rented, right? So she pushes people to her newsletter, right? Content formula, right? So playbooks, not tips, interviews, full guides, right? Email hook, right? So she teaches people, right, other stuff. So one of her best email hooks was I love guys with wood, right? 50% open rate. Lessons on lumber and investing, right? It was a curiosity hook, and that was one of her business payoffs. So next one, design philosophy, right? Personality over polish. So she doesn't have corporate CTAs, right? It's more like subscribe now, something unexpected instead. Cool. Ops backbone. She has 1 shared dashboard and 1 editing pipeline for all of her content, right? So it gets repurposed on all platforms. And then her platform stance is deliberately picks tools built for monetization and growth, not just for content or not just for publishing, right? Everything that she does is specifically to grow and monetize, right? So she has 1 million weekly newsletter readers per her most current number on LinkedIn, right? Just think about that, 1 million weekly readers currently. Now, if we get into her stage 4, right, her monetization, right? So she besides what she sells, right? She's a YouTube partner program, right? So she gets ad revenues, and she's a selected sponsor. So only brands that she uses, right? She's very picky, and she gets a sponsorship and affiliation, right? Now, what does she sell specifically, right? So she has two big programs. There's the Contrarian Academy, right, which is for business buyers, right? And then there's the Growth Boardroom, are for people who are already business owners. So let's start with the Contrarian Academy. This starts off with courses and frameworks, right? $2,000. So this is going to be medium ticket, right? Now, if you want more, you get the upscale, right? So that flows here. So it gets to an annual membership and a community, right? Which that's $10,000. So that's high ticket. Now, if we go into her growth boardroom, right? This is her highest tier, right? Exclusive invite only program, right? This is a $25,000 and up yearly program, right? For business owners. And in these events, in these programs, there's exclusive events, webinars, coachings, a dashboard, programs, everything's included, right? But all of this is high ticket. Now, she also has live workshops and sprints, right, which range from 500 to 1,500, right? So it could be low to mid ticket pricings. And then she has templates and toolkits, which range around 200. So that could be low ticket compared to everything else that she's offering, right? And lastly, she has her books, right? So she's about to release one owned or be owned book, right? Live virtual event, which is going to be talked about it before, right? $1 million plus in cash and prizes, the 12 piece that will change your business forever. Every attendee gets one tool for scaling businesses for free, right? Claim your free spot, right? So that's how she's getting people engaged and getting people to purchase, right? And both of these books are under $50. Cool. So that's everything that she monetizes and has to offer, right? Now, this is the stage that nobody gets to when they're breaking down her funnel, which is the Ascension, right? So deal flow, content credibility, surface off-market acquisitions. All of her businesses owned also come into play into getting her that $1 million and up mark, right? So she's not a creator monetizing her content at all. She's an investor using content to deal source infrastructure, right? To build her businesses, right? And content, it's the acquisition channel for businesses, right? This is the stage most creators' funnels never reach. She's not scaling a content business. She's using content to scale a private equity operation, right? And one of the most important things that she does is she tracks all her data from all of her platforms, right? From the newsletter, from her programs, from who's purchasing, from her content, from her engagement, everything, right? Everything is data. That's how she understands her ICP well. This all leads into her making better business decisions, right? So if you're a creator and you want to establish a funnel like this and you teach something, right? But you don't know where to start, click the link in my bio, book a call with me, and we can talk about how something would work. And I can explain to you how to implement this monetization funnel into your own profile and your own content. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you took a lot of value from it. And I'll see you in the next one.